It worries me that we don't have our homicides under control.
Right now at 5, there have been 153 people killed in homicidal violence in Indianapolis. That ties a prior record, a grim milestone, and now a call to action to curb the problem.
On the day Indiana sets a record for most new COVID-19 cases reported, we are getting new insight about President Trump's bout with the illness.
And then a double effort to help small businesses in downtown Indy and around the country. The new measure launched by a social media giant and the local push to help as well.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
And we begin tonight with a sobering new number. The city of Indianapolis hitting 153 intentional homicides. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. You know, that number ties the city's record, and we still have 2.5 months left in 2020. The most recent homicide happened around 6:30 Thursday evening on Indianapolis's northeast side. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum visited to the neighborhood today and spoke with people who shared what they believe needs to be done to stop the violence.
The area near 30th and Keystone is one of the harder hit neighborhoods. People who live here say gunshots and violence are a regular occurrence.
We hear them multiple times throughout the week, and it's not just like it's on Keystone or, you know, it's somewhere in the area. It is relatively extremely close. We watched somebody get shot not too long ago.
That is the reality so many live in every day. Most people we spoke with in this neighborhood too fearful to do an interview with us. This mother agreed to one as long as we hid her identity.
I'm scared. I have children.
She says she worries about their safety every day. And when it comes to homicides, she thinks a big part of the problem is that people stay tight-lipped.
People that live in this neighborhood need to say something when they see something. Everybody has a it's not my problem mentality or some type of code for the streets. And there is no code for the streets. If that's your baby or your mom or your family member, you're going to want somebody that's seen something to say something.
The pastor at United House of Prayer on Keystone says he talks with people who have lost family members to violence often. He thinks the problem is the mindset of many and easy access to guns.
People don't value life, and I think they have anger issues, and I don't know if it's something wrong, but it's definitely something missing.
We're going through a pandemic. People are already under poverty level here and uneducated.
Both she and the pastor say they'd like to see more community events with police officers. They think the more people get to know them, the more comfortable they might be speaking up.
Build more community functions and put more police. Fund the police. I'm not a defund the police, so fund them, train them correctly though, and put them in these neighborhoods. I live a block away from the police station. There's no reason there should be this many homicides this close.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
Well, police say too often they have issues with witnesses not coming forward. They want to remind everyone that you can anonymously report tips to Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
New developments in a July fire that killed a 12-year-old boy. Metro Police now say it was arson and a murder-suicide. That fire happened July 15th in the 6500 block of Lupine Terrace. 12-year-old Jeremiah Vincent and his mother, 42-year-old Kiana Jones, died a short time after they were pulled from their burning apartment. Investigators say after several months of investigation, they believe Jones set the fire, then committed suicide.
Now to our continuing coverage of the coronavirus and its impact on Indiana. The State Department of Health reports 19 deaths and more than 1,800 new cases. That is a single-day record since the pandemic began. 3,534 Hoosiers have now died. Since March, more than 131,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus, and more than 2.2 million tests have been administered in Indiana. With just 25 days until Election Day, President Trump is vowing to get back on the campaign trail, but the president now admits that he wasn't in great shape before. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has new details tonight from Washington.
A week after he went to the hospital to get treated for COVID-19, President Trump's health is still in question. Trump admitting to radio show host Rush Limbaugh he wasn't in great shape last week, but now insisting he feels perfect and touting the treatment he received.
We're rounding the turn on the pandemic because I'm telling you, we have a cure. More than just a therapeutic, we have a cure.
The White House physician, Dr. Sean Conley, revealing few details about Trump's condition, but saying the president is clear to resume his public schedule as soon as Saturday. Conley has previously made false statements about Trump's treatment. White House aides are still refusing to answer when the president last tested negative for COVID, a crucial detail for contact tracing.
I can't reveal that at this time. The doctors would like to keep it private.
Before Trump contracted the virus, the White House would disclose his COVID test results. The White House itself remains a COVID hotspot. In an interview with CBS News, Dr. Anthony Fauci calling out the administration's refusal to follow health protocols at the Rose Garden event for Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
We had a super spreader event in the White House, and it was in a situation where people were crowded together and were not wearing masks. So the data speak for themselves.
ABC News has confirmed 2 more members of the White House residents tested positive for COVID nearly 3 weeks ago, bringing the number of residential staff who tested positive at that time to at least 4. Meantime, House Democrats unveiling a bill that would create a panel to determine if a president is fit to lead under the 25th Amendment.
This is not about President Trump. He will face the judgment of the voters. But he shows the need for us to create a process for future presidents.
Sources tell ABC News President Trump will host an in-person event tomorrow at the White House. He's expected to discuss law and order, and he will reportedly address the crowd from the White House balcony. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
COVID doesn't seem to be going away, and now here comes the flu. However, Community Health Network says they've got you covered, offering free flu shots next week. They're at the Community Hospital East Main Lobby, Monday the 12th through Friday the 16th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day. Shots are on a first-come, first-served basis. Supplies are limited. Masks are required, and you must be 18 or older. Health experts urge everyone who's able to get a flu shot, especially since COVID-19 is still so prevalent.
Today, one of the city's biggest cheerleaders was remembered for her inspiration and imagination to make Indianapolis a world-class destination. City leaders honored the life and legacy of Tamara Zahn. The ceremony at Monument Circle was fitting for a leader who worked to make downtown better. Zahn was the founding president of Downtown Indy, Inc., which plays a big role in the major events that come to the Circle City. Zahn died last week and today was praised for her many contributions.
We lost Tamara at an unprecedented moment in our city's history. The challenges that remain will require all of us to summon a portion of the dedication that she had for Indianapolis. We need her spirit now more than ever.
Zahn also received words of gratitude from Allison Millington with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and former Indianapolis Mayor Bart Peterson.
The Colts finished the first month of the regular season with 3 straight wins, and if they want that streak to reach 4, they'll have to do it without one of their most important players. Brad Brown has a look ahead to this Sunday's matchup with the Browns.
Not everything has gone right for the Colts over the past 3 games, but they've certainly done more well than not. And with each successful quarter, they seem to be climbing up the ranks in the AFC.
We found a way collectively to win the game, 3 out of the first 4. So that's the objective each week. And however it shakes out, it doesn't mean one side's more important or one side won it this week than the other. We all win it. We all win together because I think they feed off one another. Depending on how the game goes.
It is the Colts defense that continues to impress, leading the entire league in several major categories. Fewest points allowed so far, fewest rushing yards against, best against third down. That relentless pressure will be key on Sunday at Cleveland.
It's definitely starting over every week. Every week is a new opponent, so it's just got to restart every week. And every tackle you're going against isn't the same, so you got to make adjustments week in and week out to continue to apply pressure. Or put pressure on the quarterback.
But this game will bring a tougher test. Linebacker Darius Leonard is out with a groin injury. He's been the D's vocal leader and energy guy all season.
I tried it out. I knew that I couldn't do it with being comfortable out there. So, the biggest thing was, cheering your teammates because there's no better feeling than, cheering on the guys that you see day in and day out and they're out there balling. And, it sucks.
The offense continues doing just enough, but difficulties in the red zone are leading to more field goals than touchdowns. That might work for now, but could catch up with the Colts down the road.
You know, we ran the ball well when we needed to there in the fourth quarter, kind of, you know, to bleed some clock and move the ball down the field. But yeah, I think it definitely needs to get better. We definitely have talked about that.
Cleveland is no slouch this season. They matched the Colts' 3-1 record coming in. They've got big momentum from their win over Dallas. It's a true chance for both teams to take a big step in the right direction. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
It's lights out for several more months on Broadway. Still ahead on WRTV, the decision that showed up center stage today and what this means for people who spend money on tickets already.
But first, new information coming to light about that violent plot to attack the Michigan State House and kidnap the governor. The conversations undercover agents had with those behind the scheme.
And a very nice Friday here across central Indiana, enjoying temperatures in the 80s, which is about 20 degrees above average for this time of year. But will that warmth stick around for the weekend? We'll look ahead in your forecast. You're watching WRTV News at 5.
One of the suspects in the alleged plot to kidnap Michigan's governor faced a judge today. This as Governor Gretchen Whitmer is calling for change from the White House, pointing to a rise in threats when it comes to political violence. ABC's Rena Roy reports on the new details about the plot to attack Michigan's government.
Sean Fix, one of the 13 men accused in an alleged plot against Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, faced a judge via Zoom today on state firearms and terrorist act charges.
This was a very serious, thought-out plot.
7 men in total are facing criminal charges under Michigan's Anti-Terrorism Act. Some also appeared in court yesterday. 6 other suspects are facing federal charges of conspiracy to kidnap.
This was a highly dangerous group. They were well armed, they were training, they had a plan.
Authorities claim their goal was to kidnap Governor Whitmer before Election Day and to also allegedly bomb the state capitol building and attack law enforcement in an effort to violently overthrow state governments they felt were violating the U.S. Constitution. Prosecutors say they even discussed with undercover agents alleged plans to put Whitmer on trial and execute her. Those agents discovering the group had trained, made explosives, and exchanged tactical gear this week. While many praised Whitmer for her aggressive action to stop COVID, some in the state have criticized her for the state COVID-19 restrictions, and she's blaming the Trump administration's rhetoric for inspiring violent extremists.
This White House has a duty to call it out, and they won't do it.
In April, the president tweeted there was a need to liberate Michigan. In May, armed protesters showed up outside the state capitol demanding those orders be lifted.
Very, very important that firstly, we take these types of groups, white supremacy groups, militia groups, extremist organizations, very, very seriously.
Last night, Trump tweeted he doesn't tolerate any extreme violence. And earlier this week, in its threat assessment report, the Department of Homeland Security said the U.S. has seen an increase in anti-government and anarchist violent extremism, adding white supremacists are the biggest domestic threat the nation is currently facing. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The pandemic is shutting down Broadway for at least a full year. All 41 Broadway theaters have been closed since March 12th due to the coronavirus pandemic. And today, Broadway suspended all ticket sales for New York performances through May 30th of 2021. If you bought tickets for any shows in New York this year, you can get a refund at the place of purchase. No word yet if Broadway's decision will impact the touring productions that are scheduled for the Broadway and Indianapolis series. As of now, that series of shows is scheduled to begin in January of next year.
Well, Facebook is launching a 3-month campaign to support small businesses. It kicks off with the Buy Black Friday initiative to help struggling Black-owned businesses and includes resources for Black business leaders. It also encourages people to share posts supporting these businesses, as well as a weekly show featuring owners, entertainers, and artists. This summer, Facebook announced a $100 million program to help support Black communities and a $40 million grant program specifically for Black-owned businesses. The new Buy Black Friday, as it's called, runs from October 30th through November 27th. The retail chain, known for its rock-bottom prices, is now targeting wealthier shoppers. Dollar General is opening new stores for suburban shoppers. The company is launching its first 2 pop shelf stores in Nashville. The new stores will be bigger than regular Dollar General stores. They will feature a variety of home and beauty goods priced around $5. The Nashville stores are expected to open in the coming weeks. Another 30 stores will then launch by the end of next year. A Japanese theme park has come up with a creative way to boost its visitors by turning its Ferris wheel into a co-working space. The Yomoriland Park, just outside of Tokyo, is selling an amusement workation package. For just $18, guests can rent poolside workstations with internet and outlets. They also have the option to spend an hour remote working from inside a Wi-Fi equipped Ferris wheel. Visitors can also later check out other attractions like go-karts, laser tag, and a roller coaster called Bandit for a fee. For now, though, the passes are only sold to Japanese residents. Their borders remain closed to tourists amid the coronavirus pandemic.
Well, here in central Indiana, not a bad day to work outdoors. If you were at the top of a Ferris wheel, though, a little breezy out there. We've got the clouds that continue to thicken up here a little bit. Temperatures, though, they are not held back. We are in the 80s, 81 degrees right now in downtown, 85 for you in Muncie, 83 in Shelbyville. There's that south breeze that we've had throughout the day. At times, it's been gusting around 30 miles per hour. Right now, the steady winds about 15 to 20 miles per hour. And so that will cause a little bit of an issue out there for some of the football games this evening. Otherwise, though, this is a very nice forecast, especially for spectators out there. Not going to need to take along the jacket this evening throughout the game. Those temperatures will stay in the 70s. We got our sun setting here at 7:14 this evening. Again, the sun will set with some cloud cover. You can see those thicker clouds moving in from the south, associated with the fringes of Hurricane Delta, which right now very close to making that landfall along the coastline of Louisiana. It is a Category 2 storm with winds of 105 miles per hour. As we track it here going on into the upcoming weekend, notice what happens. It comes up near the Ohio River, but then it kind of tracks off to the east. So we may not see much in the way of any rainfall out of that system. It does set us up for a very nice weekend. We will have clouds around on Saturday, but temperatures again going to make that run at 80 degrees. A little breezy into the afternoon. 71 for us at noon. We'll get to around 80. Average high, upper 60s. So we will take it. 80 for you in Columbus, 78 in Richmond. This is where we'll have a little thicker cloud cover over southeastern locations. 83 for you in Lafayette and 80 in Peru. Second half of the weekend there on Sunday. If we do see some rain showers, I think it's southeastern locations that stand the best chance of that. Otherwise, we'll hold on to about a 20% chance of rain here with still the clouds in place. A mild start to the day with numbers in the 60s here, and we will still make our way into the middle and upper 70s for that afternoon high. Let's check out the 7-day planning forecast now as we put it all together for you. And there are the mild mornings for us with temperatures around 60 degrees into Monday. We will have a cold front that comes through here late in the day on Monday. That'll bring the chance for rain, possibly even a couple of strong thunderstorms with some gusty winds. We'll keep tabs on that one for you. Then behind that system, slightly cooler. We're dry again on Tuesday and Wednesday, but these are numbers that are pretty seasonable. It's not until we get toward the end of the week there on Friday where we get a flow of some of that Canadian cool air filtering in here with a high temperature mark only in the lower 60s.
Kyle, thank you. The pandemic is taking a major toll on the tourism industry. Coming up next, how you can take advantage of discounts to the Indianapolis museums, the zoo, and more local attractions. Next.
Since the pandemic, Indy businesses have taken a major financial hit, including those in tourism. But Kelsey Anderson reports one organization is hoping to bring you back downtown.
The hospitality and tourism industry is has been one of the hardest hit by this pandemic.
Nate Swick works for Visit Indy. He says about 40,000 hospitality workers in the Circle City are still unemployed as businesses start to slowly open back up.
It's an industry that typically employs over 80,000 employees.
So he and Visit Indy are trying to get things back on track with the Indy Attractions Pass. The pass can get you into the Idle George Museum, the Indiana State Museum, the Indianapolis Zoo, the Children's Museum, and Connor Prairie, all for one set fee, and the pass is delivered right to your phone.
We either do a one-day pass or a three-day pass, and we think this will be kind of a way to draw new people into the city who maybe haven't had the chance to buy these. Maybe it's been out of their price point or they just haven't pulled the trigger yet. And so this is a really good reason to do that, but also to drive people back downtown who haven't necessarily been downtown in the last 6 months.
He wants downtown guests to know these venues are safe to come to.
Everybody is making sure that it's the safest way possible to welcome visitors back to the city. So everything from the Children's Museum to the zoo, the State Museum, all these entities have worked together in numerous ways alongside the city to make sure that it's safe and a fun way to come back, because you need to make sure that you get some of the same experience but in a safe way.
Swick tells me they think this pass will benefit more than just the attractions listed.
If you go to the museum, then you might stay downtown at a hotel, or you might also go to a restaurant, which also all need the help right now.
Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
And you can get those tickets now, and they are good for 90 days. But if you choose the 3-day pass, you do have to use it in 3 consecutive days. Imagine taking your car to get it fixed, and 2 years later, you still don't have it back. A local mechanic is accused of taking way too long to finish his jobs. All new at 6, Kara Kenny is getting answers for upset customers and what you need to know so this doesn't happen to you. And still to come at 5:30, despite the pandemic, one organization is making sure students can still enjoy their annual field trip. We'll show you how they're introducing kids to manufacturing online.